Hello, everyone. Welcome to Shock Talk. As usual, we have the three caballeros here today. We have Junior, we have Shane, we have me, and we have Garrett running the sound system and the cameras over there. But we'd like to point out that Mr. Shane has a new fashion accessory on his face today. He couldn't put it off anymore. I think he had to join the club. Now we truly are three bald guys with glasses.
Except for you got your hat on.
Yeah, you got
What are you trying to hide, Junior?
I didn't use my Freebird today.
exactly. A little scruffy.
Well,
up
shout out to Freebird, by the way.
there. Exactly.
Lifesaver.
So basically, to pass my driver's license exam, I need glasses. So that's why I have them.
He has them today, and in honor of Shane wearing his glasses, Garrett has put on his glasses today. So we are all just a bunch of goofy glasses wearing guys.
4 eyes.
4 eyes.
So how do you feel about the DMV wanting to suspend your license because you can't see?
I actually don't. I have a temporary license.
Yeah, until you get your
The thing is, I can see.
You
Yes.
can't. Well, clearly you can't.
No, when they give you the little thing like halfway across the room and the letters are this big, I can't see those, but I
Right.
sure can see.
Right.
I could see a car.
I think that's why you got 40s.
No.
Just because the tires.
I think that's why you got a 3500 and 40s because you couldn't see the half ton with 35s.
it disappeared into the horizon.
Hey, you know why I got 40s? It wasn't my decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes the better half gets to decide those things, and we just have to go along with it.
I mean, that's just the way that truck comes.
Yep.
It comes with 40s,
Yeah.
right?
Because you couldn't see your 35.
Bought as a package. So today we wanted to address a question that we had sent to our tech department.
No, it's a question that's often asked.
Often asked, but there was
But-
one person in particular that brought it up, and we've been talking about it kind of off camera a little bit here, and we think it's a good question. We're going to try to answer it for all of you out there. So the question was, when is 5100 not enough? When is 6112 not enough? How do I know which package is best for what I'm doing with my vehicle? And we've touched on it lightly in the past, but maybe let's give it a little more effort today and see if we can get people steered a little bit better down that road. So let's just start at the beginning with
Well,
5100.
The customer specifically was asking 6112. When is it not enough? When do I need to go
Versus
to
8112, correct.
And he had a Tundra.
Yes, he did.
But we want to take it a step further and go and start at 5100.
Right. So what
Right.
we're going to do is address the product line from the entry-level product to the
Right,
Halo
right.
product.
I think starting with 5100, I think 5100 is a great replacement shock. I think, and that serves a purpose of being able to alter your ride height, right? So I think it's a great, I would say that it's far superior than the OE shock. But if you think you're going to put a 5100 on your car and you're going to be Robbie Gordon, you're not, right? This is a good quality replacement monotube shock,
Well, it's a great quality.
Right.
great quality.
I mean, look at that video we did with Ian
Yeah.
going up.
I never
Blow
thought he
sands.
would go that fast on the
and we'll
5100.
see what happens. 'cause
Pounding
he
the
just
shit
did a
out of it.
2.0. He just did a 2.0
He did the shootout, and
shootout,
I
and
have
we'll see.
I have the information.
We'll
but
see.
You guys got to watch it.
We'll see what comes out. I mean, it's a great shock. However, I mean, I wouldn't make any suggestions to do really hard wheeling.
You wouldn't
And a
just call it a
5100.
cosmetic only
However,
shot, would you?
I mean, however, no.
Okay.
No.
So it's definitely a performance upgrade.
Performance upgrade. I mean,
Well, let's get
look
into
at
the
Sean
fit.
Bowman. Look at Sean Bowman, what he did with his Bronco with a 5100. I mean, he had that thing aired out. Like people can do it. But
I wanted to touch on that. The 5100 is designed to withstand massive amounts of abuse.
Beating, yeah.
Like the original off-road racing shocks back in the 70s and 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were basically 5100s.
Correct.
Except for they had smaller piston rods, so a 5100 it would actually hold up to that.
Right. So describe what that product contains. So it was a 46 millimeter body, 46 millimeter piston, I should say.
Monotube, but like the
Monotube.
tolerances, the requirements we have, those things have to live up to 300 degrees and not fail. And then on top of it, we do specific fit tuning.
Right.
You know, we spend a lot of time tuning. I don't think a lot of other companies do that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
then our pull test, I mean, we go through a pretty extensive pull test to make sure that rod ends aren't coming off of the tubes and all that. So
Yeah.
our pull tests are 5 times what the OE is.
I mean, we have a whole room in our facility in Hamilton where a lot of them are made.
Trying
A whole-
to destroy.
like a gigantic warehouse filled with machines trying to destroy 5100 series level product.
Right.
24 hours a day. And so, I mean, I would say like if you a 5100 obviously is a good price point for people.
Great price point.
But don't think because it's $100 or $150 that it's not like, there's other shocks that I would challenge a torture
live
test.
up to.
There's other shocks
that cost a lot more.
There's other shocks that are advertised as far superior that I would measure them up against.
Exactly.
I would measure them up against certain larger diameter dampers.
Right.
But nonetheless, I think it's a great shock if you're trail riding.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So like we say, we always go back to Forerunner. So if you want to put a 5100 Forerunner, 2.5 inches of lift in the front, do our 1.5-inch spring in the back with a 5100, that is a great trail setup.
Right.
100%.
It's probably not the best go fast setup.
Like if you have your Forerunner and you don't want to thrash it
Mm-hmm.
and you want to take it easy,
Do
that's a great package.
off-grid roads and just go out and do on the back roads, and you're not going to go big on the
I mean, it's not
rocks
going to give
and
you,
things like that.
cars and coffee cred.
Right.
Which
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but it seems to be what our market's after.
So Junior thinks the limitation would be the speed, the off-road speed would
yeah,
start
I
to
think the
limit?
damping gets challenged when you get into the high. I mean, obviously your tire pressure needs to be proper to the terrain
Right,
and all that.
right.
But
But
I
let's
think they get challenged.
Let's get real though. I mean, if you bought a brand new Forerunner or a Chevy truck or an F-150, I mean, how far are most people gonna really push that? Do they really want to beat the shit out of their car?
You are
Right,
correct.
yeah, you're definitely you're into
people
the
are
$1,000
spending
note.
yeah, people are spending close to $100,000 for a vehicle these days, and taking it out and simply killing it just
And I think
because-
psychologically that's why
yeah,
a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I'm paying $75,000 for this Forerunner.
right.
Why do I want to put a $400, $500 shock package?" So they always want to step up. They which is fine because we got product for it,
Right.
in most cases. But people often overlook the 5100. I think it's a great trail shock. I think it's a great for loaded vehicles.
Just a great upgrade
Yeah.
all around.
Yeah.
Right.
And the best consumer for this is the guy who is ready for damper maintenance.
Yeah,
Right?
he's got the
You're-
40,
you're-
50,000. Yep.
You got 60,000 miles on your OE shocks. You're not you want to spruce it up because it's getting long in the tooth to you. You know what I mean? So level it out, put a little bit larger tire and 5100.
Freshen it up,
It's
yeah.
a great package for you.
Yeah.
It's a great on-road package.
Yeah.
Like I challenge almost any 2.0 damper for road manners against the 5100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's face it, not a lot of guys actually wheel their Forerunners. So
Right.
so
Like Shane said, that, let's say 80% of the folks
Mm-hmm.
would be perfectly fine with that package and probably never go beyond its capabilities.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
one question I have, though, and Shane or Junior might jump in on this. So let's just say you're that guy, but you're traveling in your Forerunner on the roads in Baja, right? So now you have 6 to 8 inch tall stutter bumps for hours at a time. Is that still going to be the shock you would select, or are we going to shift up from there? Because a lot of folks these days are actually getting down into the Baja and exploring and things like that. And it's not massively crazy terrain, but you have stutter bumps, the small little chatter bumps in the road for hours at a time. Would
Yeah,
be,
you're-
well, I mean, if I'm being honest, tire pressure is the best for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in an effort not to overwhelm the damper, to overheat it, you're best to get into a larger shock body, like a
Or
6112,
one with a reservoir,
5160.
yeah.
6112, 5160 would be great for that.
If you know you're going to do that,
Mhm.
or not just Baja, like say you're going to go to Death Valley,
yeah,
just
any
say
dirt
you-
road with stutter bumps.
you
yeah.
plan on going on a off-road trip that you're going to be on a washboard road for hours,
Right.
right? Not just a few minutes at a time.
Right.
You're not in the national forest like tooling around
Right.
5 miles an hour. You're driving 50 miles an hour. So you're
For
going
3 or 4
faster.
hours a day, yeah.
A 5100 can withstand and operate up to 300 degrees, but a 60 millimeter larger diameter paired with a 5160 in back is going to have better. It's going to manage that heat a lot better.
Longevity, right? So you're
Yeah.
going to get the 4
Way
hours
more,
of
you got,
driving
you
on
got
that
tons
road.
more oil volume. You
Yeah.
got a ton more oil volume. You got
So for me, that would be like the step up points. Basically, going from touring around on graded dirt roads, camping, touring around on graded dirt roads, maybe some trails. Like
well,
you
I have
said.
a customer that I've been dealing with for years. His name is Stefan. I don't know if he'll ever watch this, but I helped him with an early 2011, maybe 2012 4Runner. And he does a lot of high-speed embedded rock.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what he paired? And he found out to be the most dialed setup he could find. And he's been through all of them. Is a 6112 front and an 8100 rear.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah, on a 4Runner.
He loves it. He says he's in super heavy embedded rock. He went from an Outback to a 4Runner, high-speed embedded rock, like crappy terrain. And he says the 6112's unbeatable.
That's interesting. And then he paired it up
but
with
he
the-
said he overwhelmed the 46 millimeter reservoir in
Right.
the rear, so he went with
Right.
the 8112 rear,
right.
or
Yeah, those
8100 rear
trucks are
bypass, and he's
quite
like,
heavy in the back. Yeah.
well, he loads it up a lot.
Yeah,
you know?
that's interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, the 61. I mean, you know, the question of when is it not enough? I mean, that's
It's hard to
a
answer.
tough question
Yeah.
for someone giving a recommendation to answer.
Right.
I don't know how, you know, I guess if you want to plan for the worst and hope for the best,
Right.
just start at the premium.
Right.
If you want to, if you know what your limitations are, and you know, I mean, it's just, it's a real subjective conversation.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it a little bit too. It's like, so some folks are concerned about the money, right? So they're looking for the most value they can get for the least amount of money. We all are. I mean, things are tough right now. So they're trying to select a package that isn't overkill for what they're doing. Some folks say, I don't care about the money, just give me the best there is, right? And they may not even use all the capability of that product. But I think what we've gotten to so far is that if you're going to spend more time off-road and you're going to go faster on those beat-up roads, that now it's time to shift maybe to a 6112, 5160 combo. Just because we have the higher oil capacity, we can take on more temperature and we can dissipate more heat with that particular setup. So that might be the defining point is, like Shane said, are you going to spend 15 minutes on a dirt road, or are you going to spend 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 days on a dirt road, right? And now you're starting to kick up to the next level.
Well, I think every distributor we have, every consumer we have, our 6112, 5160 package is often referred to as the best bang for the buck. And I think I have to agree.
Yeah.
It's a ton of shock for the money. I always when customers ask me for recommendations, especially with a brand new car, I always tell them, hey, you know, it's highly determined on how the vehicle's being used. I mean, but I often, when the car's still new till it gets its first scratch on it, you're going to baby the thing.
Right.
Once
Like
you get
Shane
the first
said,
once
yeah.
you get the first scratch down the side of this vehicle, it's balls to the wall.
Game on. Yeah. Let's
Right?
go.
So you might as well start at least with our mid-grade
Yeah,
package, our
in
6112,
the middle,
5160. So when you do get your first door ding and you're pissed off, you want to drive straight to Ocotillo and hit blows hand or something, you know what I mean? You can do it
Right.
and feel more confident.
Right.
And it's a confident factor too. Like all of our dampers are good. 5100s, 4600s, 5100s. I mean, I shouldn't say this, but I did get a text message from Ian when they were doing the 2.0 testing. And to start off the testing, to baseline the test, they used 4600s, or not 4600s, OE Toyota TRD shocks, 36 millimeter
Right.
with 100,000 miles. And he texts me and he says, so far, that shock has beat about 3 of the 2.0.
Which is not unheard of.
So, I mean,
I mean, you're onto that. I mean, if you just going straight to the mid grade, and then you don't have.
Yeah.
Well, I could add to Junior's point with something that I've been working on, and the marketing department is involved in as well. Is we got a shock back from a customer with over 900,000 miles on it.
I was like 1.2, the Chevy HD shock.
No, this was a Toyota shock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a Toyota TRD OE Bilstein with over 900,000 miles on it. So let's just call it an even million miles. And we ran it on the dyno against the same part number, the same OE shock. And it was still, our engineering department said it could still be driven on, safely still driven on.
We don't recommend doing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Well,
Like me and Steve Von Sagren got an email from a guy that he was happy to buy another set of shocks. We ended up hooking him up with a set of shocks so that we could get his old ones back.
Right.
I think a guy lived in Texas, 2,500 HD, and he put 1.2 million miles on these shocks.
On a Chevy HD.
Yeah.
Chevy
Yeah.
HD.
And
is
these
like-
are essentially
4,600 series
Yeah,
shocks, put
yeah.
1.2 million miles on.
And I was just amazed.
Now, to get that many miles on a newer model HD, it had a lot of freeway driving.
Right.
But still, that's a lot of stutter bumps, like you say, freeway transitions from concrete to asphalt, all that stuff really plays heavy on your dampers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got them back. I didn't follow through to see if we dynoed them or anything, but this is exactly why, when I was working in the warranty department, I would get guys that would call in and say, hey, my shock's leaking or my shock feels like crap and it's leaking after this many miles. And it's like, man, I don't know. It's tough for me to believe because I believe so heavily in our product, number one.
Right.
Number two, I know the testimonials around these things. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's not uncommon to find a
it
guy
is
with-
not uncommon to see a first-gen Tacoma, first-gen first-gen Tundra TRD that still has the OE.
Right,
shocks.
and that it goes back to Ian and the test where, I got this thing back and I put it on the dyno and it's like, okay, it could still be driven on. It was a little rusty, a little beat up, and it had, the seals were dragging a little bit. They were tired, but it was still alive and could be still driven on the truck. It's pretty
You
amazing.
get out to Middle America and look for yourself a first-gen Tundra TRD.
Yep, still got them on there.
And I
I guarantee it. That darn
it's going to have the
Toyota.
stock shocks. On.
Yeah.
It's just, again, we've talked about dampers. We've talked about this many times. Shock absorbers are probably one of the most overlooked maintenance items on a
Yep.
vehicle.
Safety item as
course.
well. Yeah.
for the average guy.
For the average guy. Like I said, you get a guy that goes out and buys a brand new Tundra. It could be a TRD off-road. It could be a base model. It could be a TRD Pro. They pull up into that driveway. Their first thing they go to their computer and look for is suspension upgrades. Meanwhile, their wife's Sienna's in the driveway with 2,500 miles with stock dampers on it.
Got the stock shocks on it.
So people are buying shocks these days more to suit their need rather than maintenance.
Yes.
Right.
There's more brand new shocks being thrown away in today's day than ever.
Well,
On
we
trucks.
I would correct you on that and say people are suiting their wants, not their needs.
Suiting their wants.
The car that needs it doesn't get addressed. The car that wants it gets them replaced, and they're literally brand new when they.
And this is what gets me too. Like again, qualify your needs, guys. I've never back to 2003 when the Rubicon first came out, and guys would come to me and hand me the keys and say, "I want to build a crawler." Great. So you want to do what now? I want to put Dana 60s in it. Perfect. I want to put an Atlas case in it. Oh, great. Why'd you buy a Rubicon? It's just like
Happens all the time.
Yeah, that's
all
already
the
in there.
time.
Yeah.
So
How
no
about,
matter
how about the Raptor people?
Yeah.
yeah. So no matter what scratch you're itching, do some thought. Take some thought into this rather than just going out and thinking, I'm going to just get the top of the line Rubicon
And then swap
and
all the
modify
gear.
it anyway.
Yeah.
They do that with TRD Pros all the time. It's like, why did you buy the TRD Pro?
Right. Could have bought the SR5 and been
Like,
just fine.
why on earth did you buy that? You threw away the tires.
Yep.
You threw away the shocks.
The rims, all that
And
good
then-
stuff.
Why didn't you just get the regular one?
Get
Yep.
the regular one. And then there's the guys that are on a more budget-friendly budget, and they're out buying the SR5s and putting the TRD Pro branding on their SR5s.
Yeah.
And to me, that's just as bad.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Decals.
That sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about the durability. Albeit 5100 is very
Right.
durable. 6112, 5160,
Right.
even more durable.
Right.
But what are the ride characteristics that are different between the two? Because I noticed the difference.
5100 versus 6112.
Yes.
Let's go into it then.
Well, to me, a 6112
More
is just
compliant.
more plush.
More compliant.
Because of the more oil volume,
It has a larger piston, so
Yep.
it just naturally has more oil
Right.
flowing through it.
right?
And but at the same time, when you whack something super hard, it soaks
It's
it
there.
up.
Soaks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a better isolation. For me, it's better isolated, and I could drive it harder.
Okay.
You know, Shock Surplus, my customer, so I'm a little biased.
Your guy.
I like these guys.
Yeah,
I like
your
these
guy.
guys. I like you guys, Shock Surplus.
Yeah.
I hope you're watching. They just did a Ford Ranger with 6112s and 5160s. And Sean Bowman, of course, Mr. Talkative Sean Bowman was in the passenger seat doing a whole interview about the shock. They were driving it. They were hitting speed bumps at wide open throttle and stuff, right? And even he said for a digressive piston, it's absolutely phenomenal, because you would consider the digressive to be a little firmer on the street ride and a little more spirited handling, which they said it was, but they said they couldn't believe how compliant it was.
Right.
The digressive piston on the 60 millimeters, it feels like a progressive piston.
Yeah.
It does still give you the handling, but it does not feel digressive at all.
Yeah.
You don't feel that knee in
Yeah.
the damping.
They were pretty stoked on and the dollar to fun ratio.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
So that would be the major difference between going from a 5100 to a 6112, aside from the other performance things that we talked about. The feel of the truck would be just more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the 5160 in the back when you put that in
Right.
the rear.
Right.
5160 has a larger nitrogen volume in it, and we don't have to run like 300 plus PSI. Those run with 200 PSI.
And there's a lot of space.
So
in the
there's
reservoir.
it's a little more compliant.
a little more compliant.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So more compliance with the 6112, 5160 package.
So not only are you getting better off-road capability, better damping off-road, better support, you're also getting more compliance.
One
right?
thing we haven't talked about, and we should touch on real quick, is 6112 comes with a spring.
Yes.
So you're not using the OE spring over again, which in our tuning, we kind of figured that with the additional preload, the OE spring's a bit much, right? So switching to 6112, you're eliminating the extra overload or preload on the kit. So that's also contributing to a plusher ride at full lift, I believe.
It helps.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes they might have the same spring rate or around
Close,
that,
yeah.
but like maybe the preload is
A
different.
little bit less, yeah.
And the 60 millimeter, one thing I've noticed is the 60 millimeter, not only on the compression side, but on the rebound side, seems to have a little more oomph to it as well.
So there's truly a difference in the way the damper feels. It's
It really
not
is.
just spring and all that.
Yeah, if you're whacking stuff hard, it seems like the rebound control in the 6112 just
More
so-
consistent.
more
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now back to the question that we got in the email to the tech box was, when is 6112 not enough?
That's hard to say, because if I'm being honest, I think that probably 80% of the users of 6112, 5160s aren't even using those to their capability.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's a durability issue.
Right. No, definitely.
I would say it'd be more of a compliance issue. How much more comfortable can I make my cabin feel when I'm blowing through this?
Well, the
terrain.
terrain gets
I-
bigger,
I
I'm
would-
guessing.
I would say more comfort and a hell of a lot more
Confidence.
confidence,
Right.
and a hell of a lot more compression control.
Mhm.
Right.
Because 8112 with zone control
Right.
as the internal bump stop, and what does the damping goes up about 3 times as much
3 to 4 times.
Yeah, 3 to 4 times.
when you hit it.
And then that's not even including the secondary jounts.
Right.
So the zone control has a secondary bump stop hydraulic inside. We call it zone control,
Right.
but it's essentially a telescoping hydraulic bump stop. So it allows us to back off the valving in the ride
In the
area,
ride zone, yep.
because we don't depend on the main piston to soak up the big bump. We're tuning the main piston for comfort.
Mhm.
So you're going to have more comfort than a 6112,
Uh-huh.
but you're also going to be able to hit a larger bump,
Yeah.
a lot larger bump.
So the question again, when is 6112 not enough? Now your speed is increasing, your terrain is getting bigger, right? So now it's time to start looking at 8112.
It's almost like it's not the question if it's like not enough.
Right.
I think it comes down to how fast do you want to drive.
Exactly.
If you want to go the maximum speed with the maximum comfort
Right.
that you can get,
Right.
you're one of those guys that wants the best.
Right.
But I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's not, but it will give you that performance.
Right.
If you got a Tundra
Right.
and you're building it into a chase truck,
Right.
8112 and 8100 bypass
Right.
is your best option. If you have a recreational Tundra that sees off road once in a while, carries some weight,
6112.
6112 is a fine,
Right.
great shot.
Right.
I mean, I just don't want to oversell a consumer, right?
Right.
I mean, like,
Right.
Well, it's not overselling. Are you going to drive your truck to the max? Period.
All the time. Yep.
so
you don't
we-
give a
we
crap
didn't-
about it.
Yep.
So we
No, but that's a good thing. A chase truck.
so
Yeah, right.
So
let's talk about a chase truck.
Let's talk about Brandon's 4Runner real quick. Fourth
Yes.
generation 4Runner V8 2UZ. He did a lot of R&D and private testing for his own. He's the engineer on the job, so he did a lot of side testing on his own vehicle.
Mhm.
Shocks did perfect.
Right.
Frame didn't.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and that's what I was just going to say is the 8112 package, typically you're going to destroy other pieces of your truck
That's
before.
correct. So this thing had to be on a frame machine.
Yeah.
The shoehorn, it basically rolled the front part of the chassis in like this.
But this was also after many years
Of testing.
of just off-roading the crap out.
Yeah.
And he never got one seal leak.
yeah. Yeah.
The JCO, he said, looked probably better than it did when they put it in.
Yeah.
He scorched some oil, but he was also in Glamis hucking this thing over big cliffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is the 8112 will destroy stuff around your vehicle. It is such a capable damper. Good luck to the rest of your components.
Right. Using
if
your
you,
truck
dri-
at
if
that,
you drive it,
If
that
you
way.
drive
at
it
that
that way.
limit. Yeah.
I mean,
I
how many
think
times on 8112s when we're doing a test session where you go over that thing that it was too late
And you're like, what?
and you got to
Didn't
just
even
stay
feel
in
it.
it,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and it's like, holy crap,
Bum.
we're still
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is that good.
Yeah, we did that with the I did that with the Tacoma. It was like a little, maybe 2.5, 3 foot shelf that I didn't see coming, and
on
it,
top of it.
I was bracing for my last breath, and then when it hit, it was like I thought for sure the airbags were going to deploy because I was in it heavy,
Yeah.
moderately heavy, and I said oh, and I did hit the brakes, and that's what actually. So I hit the brakes and the ABS wouldn't lock it up. So then I just pinned myself out of it. And then it just
Floated right over it.
right over it. And that was with a huge heavy bumper on it.
Yeah.
So
But I've also seen, with all due respect, I've also seen some videos of guys hammering their 6112s.
Yes.
oh yeah,
Hammering 6112s. And I'm like, thinking to myself, those cans on the front shocks are going to be
Blow up.
bronze
Yeah.
when they're done. And nothing.
Yeah.
yeah. Durability wise, 6112, like you got to do a lot to kill one of those.
To hurt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I tell the story about we were trying out some new components and our head of engineering, wanted to, in real world, test to failure.
Okay. This sounds like a good story.
So-
The Ram?
The RAM.
Oh.
So they send, we have an individual, Wes Welch, who's
The fearless test driver.
Class 9 champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Hard to send some guy out there that races 4 or 5 inches of wheel travel and anything's comfortable to this guy.
Yeah.
so he's the brute, like he's the guy that they send in to
Break
to,
it.
to beat up the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we think it can't break,
Yeah.
we get the breaker.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bradshaw Trail, big gigantic razor chop road, and I think blew out 2 tires, broke the
3, wasn't it?
suspension,
3 tires.
3 tires, broke the suspension.
Ripped the ball joint out of the steering knuckle.
Yeah.
They had to leave the truck overnight in the desert
Uh,
and go get 3 wheels and tires and go back with a new control arm,
And the shocks were still fine.
a Mevotech control arm, and repair this thing in the middle of nowhere. The shocks were not fine. They did test to failure,
Okay.
which was over 500 degrees
Wow.
on the test.
that's that chop area, right? That does
razor burn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and it's real deep,
Dude,
Yeah.
very, very
sharp
violent.
edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 500, plus 500 degrees. So good luck tearing apart your 6112.
Yeah.
So 500. That seal head assembly is tested at 500 degrees.
Right.
To failure in real world.
Yeah.
Bro, 500 degrees.
That's
Over.
incredible.
Yeah.
So
And this was like middle of summer. Bradshaw Trail.
Yeah.
Or was it? No, this was up at Party Point, wasn't it?
now Bradshaw Trail.
Bradshaw. Crazy.
I haven't been on that trail in a while. I gave it up, but
I'll tell you what, that area
It's horrible.
is disgusting.
That's
It's
the
like,
trail. That's the
It's
trail
almost
we're
like
gonna use
it's
when we
almost
go to
like you sent
Flagstaff.
someone there to go test, and you know
Yeah.
that they're going to be on disability for like a month
Yeah,
after because of a
exactly.
spine injury or something.
what sucks is it used to be one of my go-tos.
Yeah.
But then they invented razors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they chop
Yeah.
shit all up.
Frick.
Yeah. They just made a mess out of it. Pretty much everywhere is beat up because of the
Side by
side by
side.
sides. Yeah.
It's like if you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's like tough
Yeah.
nowadays if you want to go do some off-roading.
That's why the vehicles that we own personally to get out and do stuff like that keep getting bigger and stronger, because the trails keep getting beat up so bad that we got to keep up with it.
I have a customer that bought some, not the same customer with the 6112s and 8112 rears, or 8100 rears, but he bought 8112s for his son's car, and it was a 4Runner. No, not a 4Runner. It was a Tacoma. It was a 3rd gen Tacoma. This was a few Christmases ago. He wanted to surprise his son. I talked to him, and I got him linked up with someone to sell him some 8112s and 8100s. He had my email address. Told him what to do. He wasn't towing any weight or anything. So I said, start with a mini pack in the rear, get rid of the overloads, get some travel out of the back. If that doesn't work, get a full Deaver pack, Shout out to Scott and Jeff.
Love those guys.
Love them. So anyway, like 3 months goes by, I didn't hear, and I wasn't expecting to hear back from him. But he finally emailed me back, and he said these shocks shouldn't be on a production vehicle. He says he happened to find some videos of his friends taking video of his son out in the, and he's like, he never drove in it, never felt it or anything, but he says that the car was wide open throttle through heavy stuff, and he's like, for his son's safety, what is his next best option?
You mean he wants to tone it down so his son can't drive it that fast?
He took them off. He bought 6112s and 5160s.
Yeah.
His son must have been pretty bummed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, but he found video. He found this video. He just happened to find it. I don't know if he posted it on Instagram or he had them hidden in his phone or whatever. But he says these shocks are far too capable for a production model vehicle.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, you think about starting to need cages and things like that, being able to go that fast.
I mean, shock technology's come a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, internal bypass was kind of the first thing where you can tune a little bit of your bump zone, but it kind of affects your ride zone too. You know what I mean? So
the point of the 8112 is to kind of maybe assimilate what you get in a mid-travel upper lower.
I think it does a great job.
Yeah.
I think it does a great job.
So it kind of like levels that playing field a little bit. Without having to get the upper lower control arm, bypass shock, hydraulic bump.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like if that's tuned properly and obviously a little more wheel travel goes a long way, but that's like a huge expense, and usually that tears apart your car even more.
Yeah, it starts taking away the reliability.
So it kind of maybe bridges that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
And now we've even took it beyond. Like now we do the DSA.
Right.
With the compression, with the adjustability in the jounce bumper.
Yeah, JCO's adjustable, and then we have two-speed compression.
So that's starting to come out. You'll see more of that.
They're going to trickle out, and the thing is, it's like, and I'm still a firm believer that it didn't need it. The customers want knobs. We got to answer that, even though it took us a long time to do it, which typically that's the Bill Stein way. But I still stand on it doesn't need it. One of our biggest distributors of 8112 said it doesn't need it.
Right.
It doesn't.
Even though he's super excited to get them.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, we spend an exorbitant amount of time tuning our shocks, not just 5100s. We tune all of them. And, they are adjustable. We adjust them for you.
Right.
There's, in an 8112, there's 3 pistons that are all adjusted by our technicians
at the valving level,
and we hand it to you with what we feel is going to be the best.
Right. And even with the DSA kits, I noticed that the guys building them in the shop have them all preset to a certain set of clicks on the knobs, which engineering has determined the good starting point, or close to where we would have set it if it was us tuning the truck.
Like essentially on the DSA, they will set the DSA in the middle,
right,
around in the middle, and they'll just tune the valving from there.
Right.
I just don't like I've driven in mini chassis with our 8112s. Obviously I work here and I work closely with you guys in product management and stuff. So I get the opportunity to, and I'm so blown away at the capabilities of an 8112, 8100 package that even working in the industry, I'm like, dude, this
nothing
is
even close.
Is enough.
Yeah.
This isn't absolutely enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like people want to turn knobs on shocks, and I'm going to just throw it out there just so our comment section blows up. half the people turning these knobs don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Unfortunately. So it's just something to play with. You know what I mean? And obviously ours is substantial. So the clicks you get out of ours, so it takes so long for us because we do a ton of R&D to make sure what we're putting on there actually is doing something. Whereas our competitors, you can turn from 10 to 0 to 10,
not feel
0
a difference.
back 10, and you there's very
Yeah.
minimal difference in damping. Where ours is pretty substantial.
Well, all of the
You know?
clicks are all verified on the dyno, so we know that each click creates its own specific dyno graph or curve for each click. So that's huge to actually have a dampening adjustment that does change the dampening curve, and that's what Junior was saying is engineering doesn't back off with just say, okay, well, we've got 10% difference from 1 to 10. We want to see 15% difference between 1 to 10.
And I think we have a different outlook because we're old, and I'm old and fat. You guys are old and in shape. I mean, this guy can adjust it without even bending down.
Yeah,
Right.
I
You
walk
can
up
bend
to it
down.
and it's right
Me, like, give me the non-adjustable, right? Because I'm never going to be in my fender well adjusting a shock. I'm a heavy set, middle-aged guy. Like, I trust a manufacturer like Bill Steiner, like whoever I'm putting my trust in, I'm trusting that they've done their job.
Right.
I don't think I can do better than what they did.
That's my perfect explanation. If you trust Bill Stein and our ride
tuning
tuners,
department, yeah.
that they have adjusted the rebound and compression to the best of our ability and what we feel is right, then you should go with the non-adjustable
Yeah.
8112
Right,
series.
right.
Right.
If you do not trust us,
Yep,
and then you've got some options.
Right.
yep.
We're sitting in a room. Right behind that door is a gentleman that's been here for 35 years.
Tuning shocks.
And he has done everything from OE to aftermarket to space shuttle shocks to Disneyland shocks to military shocks.
You name it.
Yeah,
The guy is a genius.
yeah.
He
Active,
overlooks.
semi-active.
He is the
passive.
one who tunes these things.
Yeah, I don't think I would do any better. That's for sure. And,
Yeah.
and I work here.
So that's just my thought.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
well,
I
that's,
know that the consumers of these products, whether it's King Fox, Radflow, that want to click it, that want a 2-speed compression adjuster, that want this, that want that, understand when those are there, it takes more of your input to get what you're looking for,
right.
right? Because we've detuned the main piston because now there's another shim stack on the DSA, on the dual speed adjuster, that gives you the option to tune.
Right.
So now what we thought was a great tune has been detuned more because now you can tune here.
Right.
I'm fat. I don't want to tune.
The thing is,
You know what I mean? I don't want to be in my
Not-
fender well trying to. I'm gonna
just
trust
that.
this 35-year veteran.
Yeah, but not just that, but that gives the guy who's buying a 6112 confidence to say, I don't have a knob and I don't need it,
Right.
right? Because all the work's already been done for me. The reason that we put knobs on the DSA was one, because folks like to have the ability to adjust their dampers.
People want it.
Yeah, and
People want
perhaps
Period.
Perhaps they find a spot on a road where if they click it 3 firm or soft, that it gives them a little bit better. Right?
I mean, I don't want anyone to get me wrong. Like, we're going to transition eventually out of the 8100 bypass. And I hate to let you guys down, but we're going to transition out of that because we are going to replace it eventually with a 60 millimeter smooth body with DSA. And I'll tell you what, they are phenomenal.
yeah,
They're
Yeah.
phenomenal.
They work very well.
yeah,
They work just as good as, I mean, obviously you don't have those bypass zones, but there's enough adjustment in there where you don't need them on a production car.
well, and it takes the mystery out of trying to adjust a bypass shock. Most folks are totally intimidated by
And getting the ride zone correct,
Yeah,
it's tough. So
yeah.
people now want to raise their ride height. Now they're sitting in a rebound tube at the
Yep.
zone of a rebound tube, or they
Yeah.
want to lower
Yeah.
their ride height. Now they're in the in the compression tube, whatever it may be.
right.
It's a specific ride zone.
Yeah,
Now we're gonna do the smooth body DSA, and that don't care what ride zone you're in.
It really it really works pretty damn good.
yeah.
Like
So all those guys that want bypasses, you got to get them now because we're gonna try to train. We're gonna our goal, and I guess this is new. This is news to Richie even, because me and Shane had this personal conversation, and I'm just letting the world know.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah.
let's just say, like, moving forward, we're probably
Yeah.
going to stick with the DSA on new applications.
Smooth body, yeah.
yeah.
And eventually transition out of the old. I mean, bypasses are just a lot for a production car.
Yeah.
Right? They're just a lot for a
I
production
mean, it's like shocking the system. It does
Right.
work very, very well on the Toyota applications we've done
Yeah.
those for. Or like the ride comfort is amazing.
Yeah.
But you know, the DSA does work very well. It works good.
Yeah,
enough,
it works
you know?
good enough for a production vehicle. And, you know, the bypasses, if I'm just being honest, they're just so much money to build. And they're,
And it's a lot of work to tune.
yeah.
I mean,
they're just
it
a lot.
does
They're,
take someone.
I mean, they're pretty fantastic on
Yeah.
these Toyota ones
are.
we've done so far.
yeah, they are.
You know.
They are. But the DSA, I think, is going to appeal to more people.
Yeah.
Because right now they want a knob. There's no need for a knob on an external bypass because those are the knobs, right? Essentially. So they still want a knob. You don't know how many. I get questions all the time. Can you put an adjuster knob on my 8100? You don't need it, man. You got your zones are right there. And we're now even putting, you know, toolless adjusters
Yeah.
on there. So you just
Red
get
and
down
blue
there.
knobs.
Those are your knobs. Like
Yeah.
they want one on the end of the reservoir.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
So anyway, so those are the differences, guys. You can't make a bad decision with Bilstein.
Right.
That's the bottom line. Bilstein doesn't have a bad choice for you.
Right.
They have a ton of choices for you. You know, and just make the choice wisely. Like you know, we have three stage 1, 2, 3 is what I call it, and they all give you the same ride height, but they're leaps and bounds different than each other.
I think we went over at least like the use case part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, pretty well.
Yeah, I think so too. And also to those of you listening and watching, it was enjoyable for us to get that comment, and we like it because it did give us another topic here to discuss with you guys. So continue to give us that type of feedback, what you would like us to talk about. It's important that we address things that you're interested in for sure.
And I think while we're on this topic, we've been getting a lot of guys tuning in to and asking questions directly, and you know, telling us in the tech line that they're watching our videos, which we're super pumped on. But you know, we were also getting a lot of guys that saying they want to talk to Shane, Mike, or Junior. We can't always get to those emails.
Correct.
We do have a strong tech team that confides in us quite a bit.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's not that we're ignoring anyone by any stretch of the imagination. We have tons of stuff on our plates. I mean, this gentleman's the head of product management. He's the head of company training. I do a little bit of everything, I think.
We all do.
But we have a competent tech team that will contact us.
They contact us and they get our input.
Just to point out how well that works, the email that we're addressing today actually was sent to our tech department and addressed to Shane and Junior, and the tech
and I
guys-
actually answered that
Junior
one
did
personally,
answer it.
but I just want to let everyone know. I know everyone wants to. I know the goal is to talk to one of us guys because we're the face of this podcast. We do have a great tech team that's willing to help. And just to let you guys know that when you guys do say, I want to talk to Shane Jr. or Mike in response to something that they said on the podcast, these guys do reach out to us.
Yes.
But we don't always have the bandwidth to answer those emails personally.
No, absolutely. That's a good point. But please continue to reach out and give us your feedback.
Regardless if it's us responding to your email or not, it's our input that's going to be on that email.
Exactly.
So,
well, Shane, how do those glasses feel today?
My eyes hurt.
Your eyes hurt. So
well, why?
I guess we'll sign off.
You know,
on that note.
they told me when I first got mine that my IQ would go up. that was bullshit,
yeah.
waste of money.
Yeah.
But they told me I might get migraines for a little bit because your eyes adjust. And now, guess what? Now when I take them off,
You can't see.
I can't see.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was.
That's your fear.
That's what I noticed. I'm
Right.
like, now I can't see
because your eyes
That's not-
adjust. So right now I'm 20/20.
Yeah.
I can't. So my eyes they take like, I mean, this is kind of weird, but like I took my dog out to the bathroom this morning before I came to work and I forgot my glasses, and it was still a little dark outside and I didn't have my glasses and she took a dump and I'm like, oh my God.
I got to pick that up.
So I'm like looking like I was almost like my face was almost in her poop.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
trying to find it. Like I was
trying
trying
to smell it.
Yeah, I was like smelling it out. Like
don't leave your glasses in.
Don't leave your glasses. No.
Exactly.
Well, I think the DMV could possibly be right because, like, I'm supposed to wear these when I drive, and I noticed all these businesses around town.
Yeah. I think the DMV's right.
There's this business called like Slugfish or something like that.
You're
I'm like,
where did that come from?
I'm like, I never heard of this, and my girlfriend's like, that's been there all along. I'm like, I didn't. What is this Slugfish?
Damn, there's a Costco on Tech Center Drive.
Exactly. Well, I guess that's a good place to call it a day, folks. Shane, we hope you wear your glasses when you drive from now on, and we'll see you all next time on Shock Talk. Thanks for joining us.
Peace.